Marketing Kitchen TV Q&A Live. This is where you ask your questions at @MarketingKitchen TV Twitter utilizing the hashtag Q&A, and I will answer your questions right here on YouTube. Welcome, marketing chefs. I've got something truly special cooking in our Omni-Channel oven today. Marketing Kitchen TV Q&A Live Chapter 7. Up next in the Marketing Kitchen. Welcome to the kitchen, the Marketing Kitchen. Hi, I'm Ron Vining, your host of Marketing Kitchen TV. Welcome to @MarketingKitchen TV Q&A Live. All you need to do is go to @MarketingKitchen TV on Twitter, use the hashtag Q&A, and I will answer your questions here. Welcome back to Marketing Kitchen TV Q&A Live for our Summer 2020 series. This is going to be Chapter 7 of our, well, what would have been a 12-part series. However, the number of questions that I have before me today, I've decided I'm going to back record 7 chapters. So it'll actually be a 12-part series with a bonus 13th episode. How's that sound? I decided to do that so the videos wouldn't be longer and I'd be sticking to 4 questions per chapter. So I hope you'll enjoy the bonus that'll come at the end of the series. I'm going to drop these videos perhaps over the next, I'll probably do them every other day instead of every day as I did with chapters 1 through 6. I did that initially so that we would be all caught up, if you will, so that you would have had 6 chapters from me plus the 2 masterclass. And for those of you that aren't taking one of my marketing courses, then just ignore everything that I just said there. All right, are you excited and ready for Chapter 7? All right, let's get started with our first question of the day. And Jay asked the following. So let's take a look at this. There are many types of advertisement. Why social media advertisement attract more customers' attention compared to other forms of advertisement? All right, Jay, that's a great question. Just a tip, the hashtag social media advertisement's a bit long. I doubt that anybody would actually do a search for the term social media advertisement. So you might want to shorten that up, maybe social ad, social advertisement, but you want to keep the hashtags to as short as possible, as well as potentially making the first character of each of the hashtag a capital letter to make it easier to read for somebody that's not doing the search for it. So just continuing at the tip, when you're usually using hashtags, they are designed for not highlighting something in your article, but designed for somebody searching for that particular topic. So you want to only hashtag a string of words that you believe somebody else might be searching for, or that you would want people to search for, and then find your particular tweet, LinkedIn post, or Facebook, whatever platform it is that you might be utilizing the hashtag on. I find in particular that hashtags are most effective on Twitter and on Instagram. But again, be wary about where you place them in your tweet or your post, as well as how long the string is. And for example, Instagram only allows for 30 hashtag words, and those are typically best not interlaced in your comment or your description. They're best interlaced, not interlaced, put straight at the bottom for Instagram. In Twitter, I do like to make them as part of the tweet, but again, make sure they're not too long. So be careful about stringing too many words together, and when you do string words together, make sure that they are something that would be searchable in that particular string. All right, okay. Again, getting back to your question now. All right, there are many types of advertisement. Why social media advertisement attract more customers' attention compared to other forms of advertisement? Well, the short answer to that is, so yes, while there are many forms of advertisement, I would not say that social media advertisements attract more of your customers' attention compared to other forms of that. Now, I know many of you are probably shocked throughout the semester when I say things about social media and digital media or mobile media, and I basically say that it is not the end-all be-all. And I really need to get you guys all into that mindset, and anybody who's watching the video, to understand that social media is just one of many platforms, and it's not necessarily the best. I still contend that a billboard on the side of a highway, or let's say a transit display, either on a bus or on the train or the train station, are going to be far more effective than a social media advertisement. And why is this the case? Because it's really about engaging the consumer where they are. So while a social media ad might be a great way to reach out to a specific customer about a specific product or service, it is not necessarily the best method to do so. As I mentioned in a prior video, what would be more effective? Running Facebook ads about your barber shop or your pizza shop, or having an outdoor display right outside your barber shop or your pizza shop, or having a large neon sign in the window? So for example, the Krispy Kreme that's located on actually it's not even Krispy Kreme anymore, but there used to be a Krispy Kreme on Route 16 in Medford at Station Landing, and it's now a Kelly's. Now, back when it was a Krispy Kreme, what would have been more effective? Krispy Kreme advertising on social media, there are hot donuts now, come by our location, or the neon hot donuts now sign located right there on the Krispy Kreme, so that everybody driving by at that high traffic area would see that sign. I can almost guarantee you, I would put my entire marketing career on the fact that the Hot Donuts Now neon sign would be more attractive, more successful, and gain more attention than running Facebook ads saying we're going to be having Hot Donuts Now at this specific time. Just a hunch on my part, but I will put my entire marketing career on that. So while social media ads are great, there are other forms of advertisement at point of sale, shopper marketing. So shopper marketing, like the end caps, things that you'll find in the aisle of a grocery store. Lego has fantastic store-in-store advertising that far more successful. Why? Because it's about converting at the site of location. And there's so much more I could say about that, but I'm really going to try to keep every answer here to about 3 minutes. So I would say that social is not the end-all be-all. There are far more ways that you could engage your customer. Social is just one aspect in the marketing toolkit. It shouldn't be the number one go-to for all types of marketing interactions. It just shouldn't be. You need to start thinking about what works in the physical world and doing an omni-channel approach, utilizing the best media at the right time, at the right place to engage the right customer about the product and service that you're trying to sell, or the conversion or the engagement, whatever it is that you're looking for. All right, Mike has a question. Mike asks, as consumer habits rapidly change, social commerce seems to be the new goal of media platforms like YouTube and Facebook. Are native advertising and sponsored content the best next steps for companies in the current economic climate? Well, the current economic climate, so let's take two pieces to your question here, I would say. Actually, there's probably three questions in one here, or three pieces to that, Mike. All right, the first is the current economic climate. What is the current economic climate? Are you referring to the fact that consumers were forced and then shuttered and locked into their homes and unable to transact in the physical space? Is it that the economy is now re-emerging and people are coming out of their government-imposed prisons and now allowed and permitted to engage in the economy again? Is it where consumers have become, I don't know, used to now consuming online, and now that's going to be their focus and they'll be hesitant to return? So it's difficult to gauge exactly, and maybe all three are true, as to which piece of what the current economic climate is. So I'll have to guess, I guess, in answering that. The second part of your question talks about consumer habits rapidly changing and moving towards social commerce, I believe, right? Is that the case? Or was it just because people were forced into that at the moment? I still contend that if a person, most people, are given the choice between going to the shopping mall or going to Amazon, they're going to choose the shopping mall. Still believe that. Maybe you might call me old school, but people like to be out with other people. People like the social aspect of that. So at the moment, it may be preferable to shop online, but I wouldn't say that that is going to remain the norm, provided that governments are normal. Provided that governments stop the BS with forcing you to wear a mask, forcing you to distance from one another, basically treating you like you're no longer a human being. Once governments, or maybe once people rebel and governments have no choice, then, things will return to normal and people will want to engage in the real world again. So I'm looking forward to that particular day. And when that day happens, I believe that they will go to the physical shop. They may purchase stuff online and then have it shipped to the shop. Or they may go into the shop and try it on and then order it online and have it delivered to their home. So again, as I was answering in the last question, it's really about an omni-channel engagement. So not only should your marketing be omni-channel, as well as the experience and the opportunity, especially if you're in retail, that you would want to offer a hybrid approach for how a customer could engage with your products or services, purchase them, and how they'd be delivered to them, right? So that would be that entire piece. I do agree with you that a number of platforms are getting into e-commerce. Facebook with their marketplace certainly is. I'm not aware of YouTube doing that as well, but I do know that Google and Walmart had signed a deal with each other that they were going to try to compete against Amazon, and I've not really followed up to see where they're going with that. As I mentioned in a prior video, Disney and of course Target have been teaming up and doing store-in-store opportunities. It's just another distribution arm for Disney, and at the same time it's a great avenue for Target to be offering some differentiated content that, say, Walmart and some other big box retailers wouldn't have the opportunity to do. Now, you do ask about native advertising and sponsored content, about the best next steps for companies. There are so many different platforms available online as well as offline, or so many different channels or methods or tools or techniques. So I wouldn't say that that's necessarily the next best step for a company. The next best step for a company is the one that best engages with your consumer based on your particular product or service. So if you are selling something in the B2B space, then I think that, again, sponsoring specific types of ads on YouTube, as well as targeting directly for your business pages on Facebook, and then most certainly on LinkedIn, would be one of the best avenues or platforms to take. If you're a B2C brand, and you're doing consumer products, then I would say that Instagram is better than all of the others. YouTube, I think, as we have looked at or discussed in one of the chats that I had with one of your peers, that I think YouTube is an underutilized medium, and I'm going to be running a whole slew of YouTube ads myself, either in July or in August. I just have to take the time to actually film them before and then make sure that they're more slick, etc., and then get them up on YouTube. And then I'll be able to tell you whether or not those were the most effective means. All right, that's a great question, Mike. It's very multi-tiered, so it's difficult for me to maybe fully answer it in the way that you were looking for, but hopefully I offered some tips that you found useful. Great question, though. Next question. All right, Kelsey is up next. This is our third question. We'll have one more after Kelsey's for our Chapter 7. All right, Kelsey, you ask, SEO tactics are different these days, though still high priority. Backlinks isn't just a numbers game anymore. Links need to be relevant and high quality. What are some other tactics that have changed in the past few decades? Okay, let's go over that one again. All right, you got two questions in here. All right, it makes it a bit more tricky to answer. So SEO tactics are different these days. That's certainly true. Though still high priority, backlinks aren't just a numbers game anymore. Links need to be relevant and high quality. What are some other tactics that have changed in the past few decades? Okay, as far as SEO, so search engine optimization, there are a number of, there's always new tricks, I guess is the word, or hacks or tools that one can use. I always recommend that somebody hire an SEO expert because that's all that they do. It's very important, just like, so think about, when I think about internet marketing, I think about medicine. You certainly would see your general practitioner, and your general practitioner can give you an overall view of your health. Well, the same thing is true for a general practitioner in, say, marketing or branding or digital. They can give you this overall approach. They can certainly treat you for just about any ailment that you might have, just as your GP could do. But you're often then referred to a specialist. And I would say something like SEO is where you would want to go see a specialist, where they would be able to share with you the latest tips and tricks and tools and hacks, etc. Backlinks is certainly one, so to answer the next aspect of your question, backlinks are good. But you would also want to, when you're doing this SEO piece, you would want to work with somebody who's a content marketing expert, because when you talk about wanting to have high quality and relevant backlinks, you would want them to be based around high quality content. And content that is relevant and searchable, etc., about your brand. One of the things that I always say about when you hire an SEO expert, or if you were to hire a branding agency, neither of them are going to give you exactly what it is that you need to reach your customer. And that's where somebody like a general practitioner comes in and is a bit more useful, because they're going to, so let's say the branding agency, they're going to be saying all of the things you need to say that make your brand sound good. The SEO expert is going to be talking about all of the best ways to be found online. Somebody in the middle is going to be talking about how do you understand to speak about your brand in the way that your customer does. So it's not how you want your customers to think about your brand. It's about understanding how your customers talk about your brand and then utilizing that type of language to help make you more searchable, that type of content. Hopefully that makes sense. Some of the tactics have changed in the past few decades. Well, actually it hasn't even been 30 years yet, really, that we've been doing this form of marketing. We're almost there, Kelsey, but not just yet. So I remember I built my first website in 1996, and everyone was talking about meta tags and different things back then. We're still talking about meta tags today. There's a video from the spring series where I talk about canonical SEO and how important it is to make sure that from the very beginning, at the time that your website is built, that it is searchable based upon not only in its design, but the language from the very beginning, so that actually every string that for each page of the website is canonical in the sense that it ties back directly to making the site searchable. And so I'll give you an example. For the company that I'm starting up called AppFlix, I have registered just about every combination of the name AppFlix that you could find. However, when I had registered the site when I subscribed for Bluehost as being my provider, I had registered the name AppFlix TV. And what will happen for me is that if I actually don't, so it's AppFlix TV, even though the name of the company I'm having is AppFlix. Now, even if I were to redirect the URL to there for AppFlix, But because I set it up as AppFlix TV, because that's the domain name I registered with Bluehost, it's going to confuse the canonical SEO of my site, because every single string is going to have appflixtv.com, not have appflix.com. So anytime somebody would share something from that site, it's going to be the referral, or the backlink is going to be AppFlix TV. Then if all of my marketing and branding is around AppFlix, then it would dilute the SEO. So there are so many aspects, Kelsey, that one needs to think about when setting up, especially if you're legacy. Now, if you're starting from and here's something I was starting from the very beginning, and I didn't realize the confusion that was going to happen based on, because that was something that didn't affect SEO 10 years ago. But it's something that would certainly affect SEO today. If you are a legacy organization, then you're going to have potentially even more headaches than this, because every single aspect of your legacy architecture, of perhaps your website or your CRM linked into that, your content, potentially the domain names or the naming conventions that you've used for your social media, they all need to be straightened out to make sure that they all are fit. Think about it, we always talk about a sales funnel. Let's talk about an SEO funnel. You want all of so whatever is happening up here, you want that to all funnel back down to your site. So you want to be very careful to make sure that that even though you're catching potentially everything in the funnel, that it makes its way down to the bottom, which is hopefully either it's your website or your e-commerce platform, wherever it is that you're looking to make the engagement or the conversion. All right, I certainly took more than 3 minutes for that, but that's a great question, Kelsey. Thank you very much. All right, the next question here is from Trudy. And Trudy says, and this is the last question for today's episode, or today's chapter rather. All right, and so Trudy's question is, we could spend hours on our smartphone scrolling through social media, but we won't commit to moving past the first page of search results to find something we might actually need or want to learn about. Why do you think that's so? That's a good question. I haven't thought about that, but that's a good one. All right, we can spend hours on our smartphone scrolling through social media. How true, right? And don't we do that? I do that. I actually enjoy the fact that a platform like Instagram tells you when you're all caught up. That way you just don't keep scrolling endlessly. I don't know if you like that feature. Twitter does that as well, but I really like the way that Instagram does that. As much as I don't like the ethics of a company like Facebook, I certainly enjoy their product. They are some of the best social products out there, both Facebook and Instagram. And if you were to ask me where would you advertise on, I would recommend that you advertise on Instagram before you even bother to advertise on Facebook. I would try Instagram first. It's really where engagement is at. Now, if you're B2B, then I would be targeting C-level decision makers, perhaps on Facebook, because you could highly target to that. But the content that you'd be able to share on your Facebook page, directing them then back to their website, would certainly be better than what you would be doing on Instagram. Okay. Anyway, sorry, just as an aside. Okay, so yes, I agree. Scrolling through on your phone, you in particular, you're certainly going to spend more time looking at all of that, because it's more eye candy than it is going when you're doing a search. Let's say you go to Google, Bing, or Yahoo, you type in your search query, and then there's your first page. I don't know, I think that, so I guess there's no right answer to this, Trudy. So I guess you're just seeking my opinion. I'd actually like to know your opinion as to why also. So when you comment on this video, hopefully you will, I'd like to know why you think this is the case. But I'll tell you why I think it's the case. In particular, our habits today are looking for the eye candy. So we're used to just scrolling through, and whatever catches our attention, we click on it. When we're looking at that first page of search, whatever catches our attention is what we're going to do, and then we're probably not going to click on to that next page. Why? Because our minds are not programmed to do that anymore. We just scroll to the bottom where it then says caught up, and that's it. We don't go any further. So I believe that's potentially what would be happening on search. I certainly, though, if I don't find what I'm looking for on the first page of search, then I'll look at the second. I probably then won't go to the third, though, because I probably have found it already. I don't know. I guess it really depends upon what it is and how desperate it is of what you're searching for, how relevant the information is that comes up on the first page as opposed to the second or then potentially the third page of search. There's a number, I guess, of reasons or factors in that. Some people are good searchers and some people are bad searchers. Some people don't think about they don't key in immediately the best words to get the result that they're looking for right away on that first page. And then it also depends on what region of the globe that you're in. I know that when I first moved to Singapore, I was completely frustrated with my search results because I was not thinking in the mindset of the region that I was in. I've now thought about how to be a bit more clever in how I search. I also noticed the difference of the search results of when I have my VPN turned on as opposed to when I have my VPN turned off. It really does change by location what pops up. And that, I guess, is a bonus of utilizing today's more modern search platforms, that they're already trying to filter or target on your behalf. One thing about search that really bothers me, Trudy, is the fact of censorship. And Google is fantastic at censorship. There are a number of subjects that you try to find that maybe you found them a month ago and then now they're not available. I'll give you a quick example. Masks. When face masks were were a trending topic in the terms of should I wear one or shouldn't I wear one, there was tons of research talking about how anything other than an N95 mask was useless to wear. Now, you try to find that on the first page of search, you're not going to find that. Why? Because that's not the narrative that governments want you to believe. The narrative today is that any type of covering, any type of mask is, oh, it's going to protect you and everyone around you. Because guess what? It's not about you, it's about the person near you. Come on. Anyway, do it. I encourage you to do a search for that. See whether you can find information telling you about how ridiculous it is for both you, the person wearing the mask, and the person who may be impacted by you not wearing the mask. How little of use surgical masks and scarves are in contrasting to a N95 mask. So, search is good, search is bad. Hopefully, sorry about the tangent, but I hope you enjoyed the added example about, or added examples around answering that. Okay, well, hey, thank you very much for tuning in, everyone, for our Chapter 7, for what is still our 12-part series, but we're going to, of course, have a bonus 13 chapters to this particular series for summer 2020. All right, thank you very much for the 4 of you that asked questions today. And when we come back or when you come back, hopefully, for Chapter 8, we'll be taking Jack's question. All right, that's it for today. Thank you very much. Thank you for your questions. Remember, if you have a question that you'd like to have answered here on YouTube, all you need to do is go to @MarketingKitchenTV on Twitter, use the hashtag Q&A, and I will answer your questions here. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Marketing Kitchen TV Live. This is where you ask your questions on Twitter at @MarketingKitchenTV utilizing the hashtag Q&A, and I answer your questions right here in the Marketing Kitchen. I look forward to your questions. Try to stump me. Try to engage me. Try to ask me something that I can't answer. Remember, this is fair game. Anything about management, operations, supply chain, digital, mobile, retail, you name it, you ask it, If I get the answer, I'll give it to you. If I don't, I'll look it up and then I'll answer it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember, there's always fresh content simmering on our storytelling stovetop. So whatever happens in this kitchen shouldn't stay in this marketing kitchen. I'm Ron Vining, your host, reminding you to invite your family and friends to the next episode of Marketing Kitchen TV.